Hi, quick trigger warning before this episode starts. There is a lot of discussion of various death in this episode, as always, but there is in particular discussion of suicide as well as an abusive relationship. So stay safe, and that's all. Okay, enjoy the episode.
Hello, I'm Haley and this is Taya, and welcome to Haley and Taya Rip Up Supernatural and Start Over and also sometimes talk about other stuff, a podcast.
Also known as HATRUSA. And today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 5, Bloody Mary. This episode originally aired on October 11th, 2005, and is the very classic we must have a Bloody Mary episode in our horror, crime, mystery TV show.
Right. So, the episode opens up with, classically, a group of teenage girls. Supposedly they're high school teenagers, but they do look like middle schoolers.
They look younger. That's the twist.
But
they look younger.
They're playing Truth or Dare, and she gets dared to. Well, after she denies turning down, she turns down a truth on whether or not she wants to kiss a boy from their class.
Which, we all know the answer now, girl. The answer is yes.
So she gets dared to do Bloody Mary. She does Bloody Mary, and her friends trick her into thinking that something happened. But then something does happen. Her fucking dad dies. What?
Yeah.
So then,
and it's really gross. It's not just he dies. It's blood starts dripping out of his eyes like tears, and then basically his eyes melt out of his head, and his entire brain turns to blood and melts.
His brain is liquefied.
Blood on the floor. It's real cute. It's a cute look.
It's not great.
And by cute, I mean disgusting.
It's not great. But
and then it gets worse.
It gets worse because then more people die. And when I say more people, I mean our death count this episode is only 2, technically. There's other deaths mentioned, but only Stephen, Shoemaker, and Jill die in the episode. And then the spirit, if you want to count the spirit dying at the end.
We aren't counting the spirit because the spirit was already dead.
Yeah, cool.
There's a lot of versions of Bloody Mary, which is one thing that makes this difficult. But the version that Supernatural decided to go with was that basically if you are around somebody who says Bloody Mary and you have someone who died who is on your conscience that you feel responsible for, she's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
She's gonna heckin' kill you.
Right.
So one of the girls who is friends with the older daughter who found the dad, she jokingly says Bloody Mary, and she dies because she killed a kid in a hit and run. Yeah. And then another friend of that same girl who we should use names. The girl who found her father dead is named Donna. The girl who hit a kid and dies is named Jill. And then the third girl is named Charlie. And Donna, because she's annoyed that Charlie is taking this Bloody Mary thing so seriously because she's taking it very seriously, is fuck you, it's not real, and says it in the, high school bathroom. And then Charlie starts seeing Mary because her boyfriend killed himself. Her ex-boyfriend killed himself. And lots of air quotes here, because she left him. End air quotes. Also, if you can hear noise in the background, I'm so sorry. My dad is doing construction work at 11 p.m.
It's fine.
Anyway, so Sam and Dean pretty much figure out that if you find the mirror they were standing in front of, when the person died, and you flip it over and you get a black light, you'll find a bloody handprint and you'll find a name scrawled in blood. They take Jill. They bring her to their, I think, hotel room, cover all the mirrors and say, don't move, we'll handle this. They find the mirror that the dead girl, which in this, her name is Mary Worthington.
Mary Worthington, yeah.
Because she died in front of a mirror and started to spell out the person who killed her's name in it. That's why she does this thing. And they find it, and Sam, I think, like, in the parking lot reveals, because this whole episode he's been having dreams about Jess, he reveals that, 1, Mary's gonna go after him.
Yeah.
And 2, there is a secret about Jess's death that he has not shared with Dean, because Dean is like, 1, this isn't your fucking fault, and 2, everyone who's died was keeping part of this death a secret.
Right.
And that is why they died. And Sam's like, I didn't tell you everything, because Dean was like, everything's out in the open, buddy. Like, I know, except he doesn't. And then they're in an antique. Wait.
Yeah. This is where we get our Chekhov's gun for the episode. In that, the entire episode we have from the beginning. Literally, the first scene we see Sam in is in one of his reoccurring nightmares. So you get the reoccurring. We have Chekhov's nightmares in this episode, where Sam is having nightmares about Jess, and you find out that he feels very guilty about her death, and that's what. Buddy, you motherfucker! You just pushed my whiteout off my desk.
We're trying to explain Supernatural.
Yeah, buddy, fuck off. I'm busy. So that's why he's guilty. It's Chekhov's gun.
Mm-hmm. So they find Mary's mirror. They go to this antique place. They break in. Sam stands in front of it. He says Bloody Mary. And then while they're waiting for her to arrive, the cops show up because they tricked the alarm, even though they lockpicked their way in, because of course there was an alarm. And Mary shows up, and blood starts to come from Sam's eyes and everything. It's very traumatic. They smash. Dean comes in at the last minute, smashes the mirror, saves Sam, except then Mary climbs out of the fucking mirror.
And it's very bad.
And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. The jerkiness that they use is very scary, and I very much do not like it, but it works very well at making me fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And then,
like,
very Medusa Perseus style, Dean grabs the mirror, holds it up, and Mary looks at herself in it. And basically that turns her powers against herself, because she's killed all these people now.
Yeah.
And then in the worst special effects ever, she melts, kind of, and then turns to glass?
No, it was blood.
It
crashed.
Was blood?
Yeah, she crashed down in this little pool of blood. And
okay, I couldn't tell because there was also glass on the floor. So it's if you can find just Bloody Mary defeat Supernatural on YouTube or something, it might be worth a watch, just because it's
it's not good.
The special effects are very bad. Anyway, that's our summary, because then they basically just leave. Well, they bring Jill, not Jill, Jill's dead. They bring
Charlie home.
They bring Charlie home, and Sam tells her that she shouldn't blame herself, because her ex-boyfriend probably would have died anyway, which isn't what I would have told her, but
yeah,
it's better than what I thought they were gonna do, which was fucking nothing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, before we go on to Haley's grievances, we're gonna do a special thing this week, because I don't know if this is an American thing, so maybe international listeners won't have this experience, but every single person I know has some sort of middle school or elementary school experience with Bloody Mary.
Right.
So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I could go first. So mine is, 3rd grade was our hotspot for, fucking paranormal. And when I was in 3rd grade, we had a new girl who moved to our town, our city, and went to our school about halfway through the 3rd grade. And, she was, obsessed with paranormal shit like that, and, ghosts. And she really brought Bloody Mary to our school, or at least my grade. And one time she came over my house and told me that she saw Bloody Mary in my bathroom, and I was like, oh my god, poggers.
What a reaction to have.
I was very excited about it. I don't understand why I was excited about it, but I was very excited about it.
Because you're you and you love ghosts. Haley,
That's
you
fair.
know this.
That is fair.
Do I know this person? Have I heard of them?
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, so mine was a little bit different. So, I had a sleepover at some point in elementary school, and it was with mostly people from my school, but also one of my next door neighbors.
Right.
She didn't actually live next door to me. Her grandparents did, but she visited quite often. And whenever she did, we spent like all of our time together, like very classic, like hanging out with the kid, like next door. And she was kind of weird, but in like a weird way. But none of my friends really liked her that much.
Love that.
And I remember she said, hey guys, what if we do Bloody Mary? And they explained it to me, and I was like, absolutely fucking not. I'm not doing that. So I stayed in the basement while they went up to a bathroom to do it.
I'm
dead. I remember hearing them all come down, like, they were all, they ran down, like, screaming at the top of their lungs. They were terrified.
Right.
And my mom got emails from other parents because their kids were having nightmares about Bloody Mary.
That's so funny.
So, Casey, if you're listening, thanks for traumatizing all of my friends, as well as me. I wasn't even there. I was scared out of my wits.
See, I don't know, like,
so weird.
Off of like Bloody Mary, did you ever do Little Boy Blue?
Nope, and I don't want to know about it.
Okay. Or like Candyman?
I vaguely heard of that one, but I also don't want to hear about it.
It's all like the same shit, basically.
What was with little kids and just being like, what if we try to summon a demon? Like,
it's, dude.
Don't.
I wish I could tell you.
It's like when people like use Ouija boards or Ouija boards, and I'm like, don't. Or when that demon like challenge was going around like several years ago.
The Charlie one?
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Like, I don't even think I really believe in the supernatural. Just, like, why would you, like, try, you know?
Right. But,
like, don't. Anyway.
And also, aside from, like, that
show.
And it being in real life, it is a commonality in any form of television show where there is any form of paranormal or even just, like, crime-related, goings-on, whatever.
It's so
that
late,
there
guys.
will be a Bloody Mary episode. There was one in Ghost
There
Whisperer, for example. There's one in Supernatural. She does come back in Supernatural later.
She does?
Like, yeah, dude.
Hold on.
Surprise. She comes back in season 14.
Why does everyone come back in season 14?
Because God brings the spirits back, Taya.
Shut the fuck up. Okay. I don't think BuzzFeed Unsolved has done a Bloody Mary episode. They did an Origins of Bloody Mary, but that doesn't count. This is like a 6-minute episode where just someone talks over pictures.
It's probably not even
not
Ryan or Shane. Like, no one cares.
I didn't listen. I did want to say we missed out in our summary 2 very important things. 1, Sam had been dreaming about Jess's death before she died.
Oh, yeah.
Days before she died, he was having nightmares about her death. He also does not tell Sam that... Oh, my...
Sam doesn't tell Sam.
He does not tell... he does not tell Dean this. And the last shot of the episode is him thinking he sees Jess standing on the corner of a road in a white dress, and I started sobbing.
Yeah.
But this is our first really, really big hint since, like... I think the first episode that something is up with Sam. And I love that. I love the something up with Sam.
Yeah.
So anyway, on to Haley's grievances since it's been 15 minutes.
So, my notes. My lovely, lovely little notes. My first one. I've written Bloody Mary is not a car crash victim. In this episode, the rumor that they want to base this Bloody Mary version off of is that she was the victim of a car crash.
To be fair, that's what the, like, tweens say. The actual Bloody Mary victim is, like, she was 19 when someone broke into her apartment, murdered her, and cut her eyes out with a knife.
Yeah.
So...
It's like, that's not great. But, that's how they open up, and they're like, she died in a car crash. Yeah. I was like, yeah, okay.
I've never heard that she died in a car crash.
Had never heard
all the Bloody Mary origin stories. And by the way, no lore this episode because I did try to look up Bloody Mary, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard with a lot of urban legends to find the origins, but there are so many variations, not even just of, like, what the origins are, but, like, even what you're supposed to say, because some people don't even think you're supposed to say Bloody Mary. Like, there are different chants, there are different, like, sometimes you need candles, sometimes you don't, sometimes the lights need to be out, sometimes it needs to be certain hours. So, like, it's super, I don't know if it's widespread outside of the United States. Ed, you should tell us. You should tell us if you're not from the United States and listening. Tell us if you know about Bloody Mary. Anyway.
I agree.
But yeah,
and also
the car crash thing, not a thing.
As far as Bloody Mary being a thing goes, on the Bloody Mary, on the Mary Worthington Wikipedia page on the Supernatural Fandom Wiki, it says that in 1978, a folklorist named Janet Langlois, I feel like it's Langlois. Anyway, published an essay on Bloody Mary, which led to the tale becoming a popular slumber party ritual done by girls as well as boys. So maybe that's where it started? Who knows?
I don't know. I didn't see anything about that when I was looking. If you were curious and you were like, wasn't Bloody Mary also a nickname for, like, Mary the First of England? Yeah, they're completely unrelated. I checked. I looked to see if there was a relation, because I did think there was. There's not a relation. Anyway, next note, because
Next note. So I wrote that the face vein effects were something, because they were really something.
When Mary, like, before, like, the blood starts, there's, like, a vein effect where, like, your veins in in the cheek kind of, like, present themselves more. That looked pretty cool. Kind of scary.
Then I wrote Sam having reoccurring nightmares. Trauma! So
get this man a therapist. We talked about this last episode.
And
or
we
the
will
episode
not
before.
We will not stop talking about it. Because
I also would like Charlie to get a therapist. She can also go to a normal therapist. Like, it would be good for her to talk about the Bloody Mary stuff, but just a normal therapist would also work for Charlie.
Oh yeah, for her boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to that. I think. Do you
that.
have a note about that, or should we just talk about that at the end?
We can just talk about that, because I didn't take a note about that because we were too busy talking about it. I wrote, Dean really said he's writing a paper, because in order to see the corpse this episode, Dean goes, "Hi, we're here to see the shoemaker corpse. I'm writing a paper." Like, bitch, you're not. And also, that's not, they can't just let you see a body because you're like, I'm writing a paper on it.
It's wild, because even, it's wild, because even if they were studying to be, like, morticians, first of all, I assume if you were in the area, that, like, you would already be familiar with the people working there, or you would be like, I'm from this college, I'm under this program, like, this is my professor. Right. Like, to whoever the, like, assistant doctor person was who just took their bribe, get fired. Get fired challenge.
Buddy.
Like, then they were like, later on, they were like, hey, can we see the police report? And he was like, I'm really not supposed to show you that, but... And Sam just gave him more money, and I was like, I swear to God. But continue on, because that's such a minor thing. It's just stupid.
So, then I have, liquefied brains, because I just don't love that, personally.
Yeah.
And then they really just showed up to a funeral. Like, they just showed up to a funeral.
Oh my God.
And they were just wearing their plain normal clothes. And they make a comment about it. They're like, wow, I feel a little underdressed. And we're like, yeah, no shit, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, they get better about it in future seasons where they'll, like, usually they're dressed up as priests when this happens, because once demons start getting involved, there's a lot more fake priests. Right. But they really, like, they had to know it was a funeral. And they still showed up wearing fucking, like, the same thing they always do. They probably smell, like, come on, guys.
Then I have, Sam and Dean love making assumptions. I wrote that for when they were talking to...
Who? Tell me the character thing and I'll, like,
the sister, the older sister.
Donna. Older sister, younger sister. Donna.
When they were talking to Donna at the funeral, they were like, we worked with your dad. You don't know what you don't know what her dad did.
And Charlie calls him out on that later.
What if she's very familiar with all of the coworkers of her father? Like, you can't just say that.
Donna
Oh my
didn't say
God.
anything, which was weird, but her friend Charlie does say something later. She confronts them, like, when they're, like, fucking around in the bathroom, which, by the way, they did not clean up all the blood off the floor, and I get that it's sometimes hard to remove blood stains, but, like, guys, there's a funeral going on for the guy whose blood is on the floor.
Yeah.
Cover it with a towel. Cover it with a bath mat.
So then, my note right after that is TFW, the feel when Sam touches your dead dad's blood.
It's bad. But once they're done messing around in a bathroom, just, like, poking around, Charlie comes upstairs and says, like, the guy who died was, like, a day trader or something. I kind of missed out on what his actual job was. But he, like, didn't work with people, so they're obviously lying.
So funny.
And this isn't even the only time this happens this episode, because later when they go into the antique shop, Dean is like to the police, hey, sorry, I tripped the alarm. I'm like the owner's kid. And they're like, you're what? Because what is his name? Is it even gonna say it in the wiki?
I don't see it in the wiki.
I don't see it. It's like Yukoshima or something. It's very like obviously Japanese. And he's like, I'm adopted. But, like, stop. Like, they get better at it, but they're such bad liars. And it's like, Dean, you've been doing this for, like, at least 20 years, right?
Yeah, you need to pick it up. So
pick up the slack. Anyway, we're gonna run long. We're gonna run long again.
Yeah, we're tired. So my next note is local woman who died nasty, because I just thought that was a funny quote. And then I've written, I hope Jill dies, because she made me angry. So I wrote, I hope Jill dies.
And then Jill died.
3 notes later, I wrote, sorry, Jill. Followed by, Jill killed a child, actually. I changed my mind. I am not sorry.
Yeah, she killed a child in a hit and run.
But before that series of notes, though, I wrote, we don't love when a reflection doesn't follow the reflection. Because we don't love it. It frightens me very much.
I don't like it. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
It's very bad. And then I wrote, this is really important. I have capitalized the first letter of every word. How many times will we see Jess die? Because we saw it at least 4 times this episode.
We did, and it was really, really, really rough. Everyone at this point knows I love Jess, and I miss her so much, and she's only in like 5 minutes of this goddamn show, but they keep showing her death. They're going to show it at the beginning, previously on Supernatural, for the rest of this season, and I am so tired of it. I'm so tired of seeing her dead.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of it.
Sorry about it, Taya.
But anyway... How am I supposed to heal? How am I supposed to heal?
I don't know.
I don't. That's the answer.
So then I wrote, police guy has a dramatic face. Because the police guy had a pretty dramatic face. Followed by that.
Good note.
Yep. I wrote, Taya popped off with remembering. Because we were like, wow, what does...
Okay, so, basically everyone has a secret, about... that they're getting killed for.
What they feel guilty about. And Charlie's
I remembered that the first death had something to do with the wife.
Yeah.
And we know she died because she overdosed on sleeping meds, and we never officially find out if the father killed her, but we know he felt guilty. So I knew I was like, I think it's something to do with the wife. But then I also also for Jill, I was like, hey, didn't she like hit a child with her car? And then when Charlie, I was like, oh shit, Charlie. And then I was like, wait, wasn't it something with Charlie's ex? Like, she was gonna leave him and he threatened to kill himself, and she left anyway, and so he did. And I was right on all of them, and it was really amazing. I felt amazing. Sometimes my brain remembers things. Usually it doesn't, like deadlines and important facts that I need to know for work, but
it's fine.
Pointless supernatural trivia. I got you.
Then I wrote, Sam is guilty for Jess's death with a frowny face next to it.
That makes me so sad.
I should have written Sam feels guilty, but it's fine. I'm tired.
Yeah.
And then after that, I have written a quote from you. where you said, Sam looks extra baby, smiley face.
There was just a moment, like, in the car after they were talking about Jess, where he just looked, like, extra young and vulnerable, and I was
baby.
suddenly really sad. He was extra baby.
And then I wrote commercial cut peak, because there was a very dramatic commercial cut.
There was. It, like, went to a full black screen.
Yeah, and there was, like, a little shot of music. It was very spooky. And then I wrote, Sam, and this is all caps, Sam, run, your brains are liquefying, because when they go to the antique store and Sam does this thing, he does get caught by the ghost, and his brains start liquefying. He's crying tears, but he was fine. Anyway.
Yeah. And this is where we find out that he had the nightmares about Jess dying. Oh.
My next note is, oh my god, Sam's psychic powers predicted Jess's death. And it's our first note about Sam's psychic powers.
Yeah, this is the first time, I think, since the first episode where we have gotten an inclination that something is going on with Sam, aside from the weird, there was a figure standing over that baby.
Yeah.
And this is the first inclination of that. I think it picks up in season 2, because I think season 1 ends with them finding the dad, and then season crash. 2 ends with the weird, like, they're in a, you know what I'm talking about? The weird, like, they're in an abandoned town with, like, all the people who have powers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Hunger Games style? Yeah. But yeah, this is really the beginning of it. And we are going to find out what the fuck happened to those powers. I think what happened is he just stopped drinking demon blood and also went to hell. But I'm also not sure. It's entirely possible the Supernatural crew just forgot this happened. And was a major plot point for their series.
Yep, but
anyway.
My next one is jerky ghost movements. Bad, because they were very scary.
They're bad, but they're good because they're terrifying. I hate them. The way that the camera cuts between the movements, it's so jerky, it's so unnatural, and I really enjoy it in the worst way where it makes me feel awful. Yeah?
Taya, would you say that they were supernatural?
Haley, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. My next note is, love the way she melted away, which we already talked about, but I love the way she melted.
Just look it up. I'm sure we can find, like, you can find a video. If you can't find a video, I will find a way to find a video. I don't think you can screen record Netflix anymore, but I will fucking try, and I will post it on our Twitter, because holy shit.
Yeah. Then I wrote, my last note is, why is Dean out of focus, LOL? Because Dean is out of focus again in the car at towards the end. They have really bad focus with their cameras. But that's all my notes today, because I was tired.
We were tired. It's 11:14, so it's not going to be midnight when we finish, which is fantastic. But honestly, after the last episode, this one isn't that bad.
No.
It's a little weird with I would say it's a little bit weird with its minor characters, in that you would think it would focus a little bit more on Lily, the girl who originally says Bloody Mary, and Donna, the girl who finds their dead dad.
Right.
But the Shoemaker family, after their father dies, really isn't that important.
Yeah. And
Lily actually does show a lot of regret and guilt at thinking she killed her father, even though Sam and Dean are like, well, he didn't say Bloody Mary, you did, so, like, it's not your fault. Like, it's a little weird that they switch from, like, the focus on this family to the focus on Charlie, but I do really like Charlie as a character, and I feel for her a lot, and this is where we're gonna have another PSA, and if in the future you do listen to our commentary, I think I talk about this for, like, I think we talk about it, not only do we talk about it twice, but both time we talk about it for, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But Charlie, while her guilt is totally understandable, I don't think that the show went far enough to say your ex-boyfriend should not have told you, if you leave me, I will kill myself. And it's not even the fact, she says, one of the reasons she feels bad is she says, like, go ahead or something in response to that, because she said she was angry, they were fighting, and before that, she said he was nice, but sometimes he scared her, which to me implies abusive. That the relationship was always abusive. But you never, ever, ever, if anyone is ever threatening to hurt themselves if you leave any kind of relationship, leave the relationship anyway, because that's not healthy. It's super, super abusive. It's a huge red flag. Like, you are allowed to tell other people in their life that they might need to be watched. You are allowed to give them, like, you are allowed to be like, here is a helpline, but you do not have to stay with them. That is super, super bad. Yeah. Sam basically just tells her, like, you should forgive yourself, and this would probably have happened anyway, which I think is a horrible way to phrase it, but it's like, I really, like, that's my biggest grievance with this episode, is it did not go hard enough in telling Charlie that what her ex-boyfriend said was not okay, because that's not okay. No one should ever be telling you, if you leave me, I will kill myself, I'll hurt myself, I'll do something to myself. It's a flag. It's a red flag. It's a very big one. Yeah. I know I sound like a broken record. Because the show did such a bad job at being clear that, one, it was not her fault that her ex-boyfriend died, even though they say it wasn't. I don't think it was clear enough, because for the other characters, I mean, they basically tried to make her a parallel to Sam, where they both feel guilty about it and feel like they should have done something more, but probably couldn't have.
Yeah.
But the difference is Sam and Jess weren't in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And Charlie very much was, and she needed to leave. So that's I'm stepping off my soapbox because I'm very tired and I don't really want to say the wrong thing, and I'm kind of worried I've already messed it up somewhere. But I just feel very passionate about that should have been handled a little better, and maybe in 2005 that was the best we were gonna get. But now it's 2020, and I shall judge. That BuzzFeed Unsolved quote, I shall judge from my point in history.
And in our rewrite, that is important, is that
it's really important.
That needs to be addressed better.
That's my biggest grievance with this episode, because otherwise, like, I think it's pretty suspenseful. Aside from the terrible effect, most of the effects are pretty fine or good.
Right.
It's properly very good spooky.
Proper spook.
I appreciate the hints at what is to come with Sam. I also appreciate that little bit of Jess at the end where he sees her and you're like, hello? Jess?
Jess? Is that you?
And I also appreciate the little Sam and Dean moment where Sam says, Bloody Mary's gonna come after me, and Dean is like, no, it's not your fault. It's like, I appreciate that moment.
I also really like when Sam almost dies at the hand of Bloody Mary, and Dean comes in and calls him Sammy, and I'm like, oh, wow.
And then Sam immediately says, it's Sam. It's good. There are some good moments in this episode. I wouldn't say it makes up for the disappointment of last episode.
No.
I think last episode was like a trial run for their demons, and it didn't hit, but this one hits. I would say this one hits pretty good. It's not their best, but it's really solid. I would say it's solid. But we do have something to share with you, and it's very important.
No, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. How are we not there yet? What else is there to talk about? Who are we crack shipping, though? Because all the girls are mean to each other.
Tonight I am crack shipping that Lily didn't want to answer the question of whether or not she wanted to kiss the boy in her class because she has a crush on one of her friends at the sleepover.
That's a good crack ship, and honestly, I was thinking about that earlier when I said, like, if you say dare when someone is like, you want to kiss so-and-so, and if you say dare, usually then that gives you an answer. But sometimes you just don't want to answer, and maybe it's because maybe you have a crush on your friend.
Maybe she's gay, and that's okay.
Maybe we have a little lesbian. I support her. I hope she goes to therapy, and I hope she gets the girlfriend she deserves.
So now we have something really important to share with you.
It's so important.
In the previous episodes, when we do our Brought to You By segment, we've been really confused because on the fandom Wikipedia, we go, well, I don't remember hearing that song, but it says that it was played, so it must have been. And this time, I had a lot of kickback because I was looking at the fandom Wikipedia page, and it says that Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy played, and I went, no. If it had played, I would have known that. So I looked it up. I specifically looked looked up, to find it, I believe, looked up supernatural songs by episode. And I efficiently found a website. It's called tunefind.com. And it shows me the songs that plays per episode. But not only the songs that play per episode, but the fact that the TV/DVD version of the episodes have different songs than the Netflix version. So when we read the Wikipedia and go, well, that doesn't sound right, it's because it's not.
It's not right. And it means we were correct in there was probably some sort of licensing problem when they got to streaming services where they had to change out music. Which I think we talked about in episode 1. And I was also shocked to find out that apparently Sugar We're Going Down was in this episode. And I am greatly disappointed that it was removed because I would have loved to hear some Sugar We're Going Down. But that means that today's episode, I'm choosing to have it brought to you by Never Forget by State of Man.
And I'm bringing it to you by Bones into Dust by Fred Haring. Haring? There's only one R, so I'm gonna say it's Haring.
That was the one that played while Jess was, like, on the corner, and it was, like, very on the nose, which was very funny to me.
Yeah.
It said something about, like, the dust of Eden as she vanished. It was really funny.
It goes, it's ashes to Eden, bones to dust, and then something about
it's
rust.
Very on the nose. I will actually say, this Bloody Mary, not only is it very clearly inspired by The Ring, it's so clearly inspired that it appears in the cultural references section of the wiki. Pretty much the only difference between The Ring ghosty thingy, I've never seen The Ring, and
Samara!
The Bloody Mary
Her name is Samara!
Okay, thank you. Is the fact that her hair is not wet.
Yeah, because she didn't drown in a well.
Yeah, let me find my favorite thing while you do whatever you're gonna do.
Well, I was gonna say my favorite thing. My favorite thing on this page today is the fact that apparently this episode is set in Eric Kripke's hometown, and names of the characters in the dialogue are shoutouts to his friends. That's fun.
Do you think one of them is one who died? Because Haley, if you ever get published, can you name a character after me that's dead, like brutally murdered?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. That's all I could ever want. Honestly, this one doesn't have that many funny things.
No.
Hold on. It's weird because most of these early episodes for featured supernatural beings all have special child parentheses Sam, but they've stopped putting them in here.
Yeah, and I'm kind of sad.
And that makes me sad. I still think it's very funny that every single, like the past 3 or 4 have had under trivia, antagonist, Bloody Mary. Like, no shit.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Holding.
Oh, okay. I'll use this one because we'll talk about it at some point in the future. My favorite thing on this is the anime episode Till Death Do Us Part is loosely based on this episode because at some point in our lives, Haley and I will be watching every single episode of the Supernatural anime. I don't think there are that many, but we are going to watch every single one.
There's 2 seasons.
I'm not saying we have to do an individual episode for every anime episode, but I am saying we're going to talk about it. Yeah. Because it's legally required.
It'll be just a little special.
We went long again. We gotta stop making these as long as the episodes. No one's gonna listen to them.
You know what? That's fine. Because people will listen to them. But anyway, the real question, Taya.
Yeah.
Is, do you think we're gonna focus on the largest organ in our body tomorrow? Or next week, rather?
Ooh, we are tired. I mean, I can only assume, because I remember none of this episode. I just know it's named Skin. I can't even come up with another question, because I only know it's named Skin.
Oh, I remember it so much. But that's okay.
Well, it'll be a ride. It'll be a ride.
So,
also,
we'll
hold on.
Okay, I'm holding.
This will probably happen before this episode goes up. But we are now on, hopefully, both Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Shit.
And on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review. So you should leave a review. You should listen wherever you can. You should tell us if there are other podcasting places you want us to put. And you should share our fantastic podcast with your friends. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. You know.
Let us know how poggers we are.
Or how bad we are.
Or how anti-poggers we are.
Tell us how shitty we're doing.
Yeah.
Tell us how bad. Please send us hate mail.
God!
But really, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time for some episode that I'm genuinely afraid of.
Yep, so we'll catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.